I'm very honored to have you here, Lisa. She's a beautiful soul. She's artist. I fell in love with her art. I saw her paintings and I said, wow, these are beautiful. And she's an author. She's a vocalist and she also play guitar and piano. So I'm very honored to have you here. And I know you've been through some challenges as well. So I don't want to um, stay waiting for you to talk. So still have you here. So please introduce yourself and tell me, how did you start your journey?
Wow, that's a long, I'm going to have to try to shorten it up for you. Thank you for having me here. I'm really blessed and honored to be here with you and your audience today. I just had a really rocky road. I came onto the planet very fearful. I had a lot of things happen to me: molestation, rape, abuse, lost my house to wildfire, breast cancer, and then 2.5 years ago, neuro-Lyme disease. So that was just a few of the things that hit me. And I wrote my book, which you can see back there, Your Turning Point, because we talk about our lives. Our lives are filled with turning points. Some are small, some are large, right? And if we listen to them, we listen to our intuition, it moves us forward and gets us where we're supposed to be. And so really that's how I lived my life. The big one for me was the fire. And then 2 months later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I was going through rebuilding my house and cancer surgery and treatment at the same time. And so that was back in 2007, 2008. And that really shifted my mindset. I knew that I was in a toxic relationship, and if I stayed, I probably would get really sick and die sooner than I had wanted to. And so I knew that, it was one of those moments where you really come face to face with mortality. It's kind of like, if I don't do what I'm here to do, I could actually die before I get to do it. So I made some choices. I left that relationship. I went on to build my coaching business. And then, of course, I've had some other turning points up until that point. But I think I love the name of the show because we all get to reinvent ourselves over and over. A lot of people think that they have to do the same thing for, 50 years, but I've done so many things, and that keeps it fresh and new. And so that's why I'm really excited about sharing it at my age. You can do anything at any age. So that's what I'm here to talk about today.
Yes, Job Reinvented show is about reinventing yourself. Especially I started this show in COVID, when everyone is very afraid of losing jobs, and they didn't know how to do with their life. The problem is when you are doing something over and over again, going to getting your pay slip, right? And then something just finish, you just wonder, wow, what should I do? But this COVID was good
Yes.
warning for all of us
Mm-hmm.
to start something new and to break some barriers and
Yeah.
some limited belief.
Mm-hmm.
Because I studied all my life. I studied Master of Information Technology, Software Engineering, and then again another certification, project management. Oh, so many things. And then at the end of the day, no, what I'm doing is not really related to what I studied, because I learned you have to live out of the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. By the time you are just trying to repeat other people mindset
Mm-hmm.
and other people belief, you're not going to change your life. So tell me about your turning point. When did you start writing your book, and what was your inspiration?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. First of all, I don't have a technological side to my brain at all. I'm all creative, Pisces, emotional. That's me. So I hate the kind of stuff that you love and you went to school for. I don't want to do it. But my turn, when I actually left from the fire and the breast cancer, that got me down the road. But again, I reinvented myself over and over, not because as you said, I'm a vocalist. I do many different things. I wear a lot of hats like a lot of us do. But my problem is that I was very dissatisfied. It was hard. Building a business was hard for me. And building a business and becoming an entrepreneur is hard. It's a very tedious process. You come face to face with your beliefs and your wounds and all those things. And I did that. I really did that. But my problem is that as time went on, I was coaching and I liked it a little bit and I was good at it, but it didn't light my fire. And I was just tired of, talking to people with their problems. And sometimes when you coach people, they blame you for everything. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm over this. I don't really want to do this anymore. It feels very heavy. And so what my turning point was, after my big turning point, was that back in, I think April of 2017, I did my third or fourth online summit, and I had about 30 high energy, very well-known people on my summit, and it was really amazing. I had John DeMartini. I had like a whole bunch of people, and of course, Joe was on my summit, Dr. Joe Vitale. And so I just asked these people; they all said yes. Well, Joe and I had this massive connection, this energetic connection. We didn't know what it was, but we felt so aligned. And I did my summit. We went on with our lives. 2017, I was building my business and doing leadership programs and things. And then I changed to a coach who was here in Texas, and I had never flown to Texas to coach with a coach, but I did it over a 6-month period of time. Anyway, Joe was following me on Facebook, unbeknownst to me. And he had asked if we wanted to, he got in touch with me and said, do you want to get together for coffee? And I said, oh my gosh, yeah. Well, it ended up not happening. He had an MRI that day. And so I came back to Texas in January of 2018. And at that time, we actually had dinner together. And we were so aligned. It was like we had known each other forever. We enjoyed each other's company. And that's when we started talking about my book. I had lost all kinds of books in my computers when I lost my house to wildfire, because I lost everything. And so I kind of lost my motivation to write. But I had these ideas about my whole life and all the things that I had gone through, and I wanted to help people overcome their challenges and let them know, hey, we all have a lot of stuff that happens, but it doesn't have to take us under. So at that point in time, Joe started mentoring me. I started writing my book, and then I actually went back to live with my mother for about 6 months while she was diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. And I took care of her until she passed away, and I wrote every morning. And it was very cathartic. I really channeled much of the book. And that was kind of like the new phase, the new chapter that started, where I am right now. But again, it was following those baby steps, your intuition. And I can't stress to your audience enough that if you follow and hear and trust and do what your intuition says, I got a hit, a download. I'm sure a lot of people here know what I'm talking about that are intuitive, to go live with my mother before I knew she was diagnosed, and I couldn't figure it out, but I packed up all my stuff, put it in storage in California, and started driving across the country. And halfway across the country, I got a call from my sister saying Mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. She's dying. So that always makes me emotional because I didn't know she was dying. So it's listening to your inner guidance, even when it makes no sense, even when it's scary and unknown, and taking those steps in faith lead you to the next step, exactly on the path that you're supposed to be on. So that's one of the biggest things I stress for anybody who wants to walk this journey.
It's so touching what you said. I was like analyzing your words in my mind, because I had my summit in PTSD, and we talk about journaling for PTSD recovery. And you definitely talk about it, especially when you are in grief, or when you are hit by sudden trauma. Journaling is the best way for recovery. So first, this is one point. And then you talk about different transition in your life, the courage that you had for yourself to step from one point to another one. And you also talk about, you also have a desire in painting. These are your paints? Painting at the wall?
Yeah, I have some of them. I have a ton of them. I have some smaller ones. I'm doing really big ones now.
Wow.
But they're just,
so beautiful and so colorful.
I have so many of them. Yeah, I love
healing, and I think any of them has their own meaning, right?
Yeah, each one has their own energy, and
Yes.
I channel it for people who actually commission pieces from me. And I pray over my pieces. So
this is great. You have 2 pieces for PTSD recovery, which I really want you to talk about this, even if this one is about Job Reinvented show, but it's really related to what we are talking, so I don't want to lose your points. And then we go, and I ask you question about transition.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah.
so how journaling and painting help you recover from PTSD? I'm not saying PTSD because you didn't have PTSD, but
Oh,
anyway,
I
you
did.
had, you did? Because all
Oh,
of us somehow related
oh
with
yeah.
trauma.
I was,
So,
yeah, I
so
mean, I
you
was,
had sequential. I missed you in the show, in the summit. I wish I could meet with you earlier so I could have you there. But anyway, uh, if you tell me about those um, impression you got from journaling and painting, it's gonna help a lot of people.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of PTSD. I was gang raped in college, losing the house to wildfire with 10 minutes to get out and everything was gone. I mean, I've had a lot of different traumatic things happen, and I'm still working through some of that. But journaling is so important because it's just cathartic. It's really just writing down what you feel. It's really getting those emotions out because you don't always know. We judge ourselves, we criticize ourselves. I shouldn't feel this way, and I don't know what to do about it. I also do a lot of other things. Like I work with practitioners that do, EFT and energy healing. So I'm always on the path, and I want to share that with people. If you're really stuck and you can't seem to get through something yourself, make sure you reach out to somebody appropriate that can help you move through the PTSD. So journaling is super important, but journaling and painting and drawing and singing and dancing, there's so many things you can do. And the whole point of my painting is that, when you start doing something you really love that you're passionate about, and a lot of people think, I stink as a painter. I can't do art. It's not about that. It's about opening up to your creative flow. Your creative flow is attached to money, love, relationship, everything. That's one of your lower chakras, right? And if that's blocked, you're going to have a lot of trouble in that department. So opening up to your creativity, whatever that looks like, it doesn't have to be painting for you, but it's being carefree, it's being open, it's being in surrender, it's being in flow with the universe. When I paint, sometimes I try to control things, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing, because with abstract, you can't really control it. It turns out the way it turns out. So it's really about trusting the universe, God, the divine, whatever you want to call that energy. And so anything that gets you out of your head and allows you to just create and just be, that is when you elevate your vibrations through the roof. That is when you have healing. That's when you have insights. That's when all kinds of things happen. So anything that you do in that realm is super important for all kinds of healing, not just PTSD.
You know, it's so interesting because in my previous book, Naturally Conceived, I talk about fertility, power, and creativity.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think for myself, when you are stuck in a failure loop of miscarriages, you
Mm,
need something new, something creative to get out of that cycle. And
yes.
as you say, that's why I always recommend art or creativity, whatever you actually love. It
Mhm.
can be cooking, something that you
Yes.
create something out of nothing,
Yes.
you know. So that actually create lots of great vibration in you, and it can actually empower you to create something in yourself, which is your baby. And it
Right.
also have lots of good effect in your brain, like
Mhm.
um, how can you, like, pineal gland and other um, reproductive functions, a lot of things happening in you when you are feeling creative and you do lots of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I agree with that totally. Yeah. Like you said about having a baby. I mean, it's all creation. It's all, when you look at
Oh,
the chakras,
creation.
if you know anything about the chakras, right? That
Yes.
that one, your sacral and your, all those, the root chakra, all those have to do with so much to do with, creation. And that touches every area of your life, literally. So yeah.
Oh, Lisa. So,
Yeah.
as you know, this show is about job reinventing,
Yes.
a job reinvented show. And I ask two questions mostly from my interviewees.
Okay.
The first one is, what are three factors that you follow and you feel that you're successful. Or in another word, we can say the three factors that entrepreneur can follow and be successful.
Well, success looks, number one, I want to remind people that success looks different to everybody. You know, like when you're starting out, success is, oh, I'm going to make money, I'm going to have clients, I'm going to be famous, or whatever it is. But as you move along, success to me now is really like, what makes me happy? What can I do that brings joy to other people? That's success. Because when you do what you love, then the money comes anyway. It's not something you have to work at. You know, you don't have to look at that. So again, I think for the formula for success, and I'm going to give really simple things here because, you know, I worked with a business coach for years. And it was really hard. I didn't enjoy it. I learned a lot, but it was a tough ride. But I would say, number one, be in gratitude every day. Be in gratitude for where you are, what you have, what you're learning. Be in gratitude when you hit a wall and you fail, because failure is just the next step to success. Lots of people fail and they fail forward, right? That's what they say. Also, I want to share a little bit about gratitude because I've started doing this other thing called future gratitude. You've probably heard of it, where you do the journaling process, but you actually act like as if you've already reached a certain level. Like say, you know, for me, I want a really big studio to paint my art, you know, and I want to be in galleries and I want to sell and I want to just really get my artwork out into the world. So I would get a journal and I would sit down and I would journal every day. You know, I am so excited, happy, and grateful that I've got the most incredible studio and people love my artwork and they're buying it. And so even as I say that, if you could feel my energy, like when you start looking at what's possible and what it is that you want, your energy level raises. And of course, law of attraction says you attract what you're vibrating, right? As opposed to, oh God, this is hard. I don't want to do business coaching anymore. I don't, you know, because that's never going to get you anywhere. So gratitude is a powerful thing to use. Number two, intuition. I live by my intuition. And if it's really critical that you learn to, again, hear it, trust it, follow it, because the insights that come in are so powerful. And that's where you get your inspired ideas, right? And that's when you take inspired action. And then the other thing, there are a couple things that I could say, and action is one of them, right? Taking action, actually doing something about it. But I just wanted to share something popped into my beingness, and that is your authenticity. You know, when I first was learning how to coach, I didn't want to really show up on camera. I was afraid of being condemned, criticized, judged for who I was, but that's my own, you know, unworthiness issues. And so I forced myself to get on Facebook like every day and show up, and I evolved over time. But learning to work on your authenticity when you are genuine, down to earth, comfortable in your own skin, that is going to attract more people to you. If you're, say, in the business of being a coach or whatever it is, people are attracted to people who are genuine, who are loving, who are kind, it's this vibe, right, that just attracts people to them. So those three things, there's so many, but again, gratitude first, following your intuition, and then really learning to be vulnerable and authentic would be third.
Beautiful. And what are three factors that you fail? I'm not saying failing, but to so many people, they don't want to follow up with their entrepreneurship and they get back to previous cycle of what they did before that they didn't like.
So three things that
entrepreneurs fail.
Three things that entrepreneurs fail at
doing what they love.
Yeah. I think, okay, first thing that comes to mind is, that's a great question, I just have to think about it, is that they give up too soon. You know, there's so often times that we're doing things and we're going along and we're really close to breaking through. And again, a lot of people want the magic pill. They're impatient. They want it done now, right? But this is something that takes time. You have to evolve over time. So staying the course, staying committed, showing up when it's hard, showing up when it doesn't work out is what's going to really get you to where it is you want to go. You know, when you look at people like Walt Disney and all these people over the years that failed how many times, and they finally made it because they had a vision. They wanted to get where they wanted to go, right? So I think giving up too soon is a big one. Also, I believe that we stay we keep doing what we don't really want to do for too long. Like I worked at my coaching business and my coach said, it's you don't know what you're doing. You need to learn more, whatever. And so after a couple of years of this, I got really frustrated. And this was part of my journey. So everything we learn is still good. But I learned that when something is really hard and you're doing it, number one, you're either not aligned with your true purpose because it's not lighting your fire, or it's something that you need to delegate to somebody else. Like if you're putting on a summit, right? And you don't know how to do the technical stuff, you hire a VA. That's what you do. You take away the hard, you delegate so that things are easier for you. So I think sticking with things that are hard, I think that's a big red flag. Something's not right here. I'm either not aligned, I need to get support, I need to move in a different direction. And one of the other things that's coming forward is that a lot of times entrepreneurs do not want to invest in themselves. You have to spend money to make money. It's just the way it is. And again, a lot of times we're lone wolves. We go solo and we try to do everything ourselves. We expend our energy. We're tired. We don't want to do it anymore. When all we had to do was hire one or two people to help us. Because the first time I hired a VA, and I delegated, it was like this block, this weight off my shoulders. I was like, oh my gosh, I can just do the interviews, which is what I love to do. So making sure that you have the support you need, because you can't go it alone, and you have to invest in yourself. And I always say get a coach too. And again, that's a whole nother subject, because you can stay with coaches too long. You can be with coaches who aren't any good, but you still need somebody, or join a mastermind where other people are coming together and throwing around a lot of ideas. But do something for support and, where you can bounce ideas off of other people.
These are great recommendations. Actually, I'm just trying to analyze it with myself, like align it with what I'm doing as well. So yes, sometimes we really need somebody else's help. And it's not easy because sometimes you have to explain too much to just try to clarify what you're doing, what you want. But as soon as you learn how to work with people, then it's much easier to go forward for other things. So you are a TV host as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what is your show, and what you are you doing it? Still doing it?
It's called the Mindset Reset TV show. And we stopped when I fell ill with Lyme disease 2.5 years ago. And then as I started getting better and we started to want to move into it, my co-host went through a really big divorce after 30 years of marriage. And he ended up picking up and moving from New York to California. So we've had that COVID, we've had this series of many things going on over the last 2 years, but I'm actually, back talking to Robert again, and we have probably 150 people who want to be on the show. So we are going to continue again. We're moving into that phase, and we'll be going into either our third, I think our fourth season actually. So that's always fun. Yeah. We really do
virtual or is in studio.
No, we just do it virtually, but Robert does everything. He sets it up, on a really cool screen. And then he and I question everybody. And, we've had people on like Deborah Poneman and Marcy Scheimoff and Joe. I mean, just like, Gay Hendricks, all kinds of people. And it's really cool because they talk about their experiences, things that they had happened to them and how it affected them and how they grew from it. So it's really about shifting your mindset in the midst of, trauma, tragedy. We all have stuff. We just have to learn to see it in a different way and then grow from it.
Beautiful. So you have a website, lisawinston.com, and same with your Facebook, same thing, lisa.winston.501. Instagram, you have Lisa Winston again.
Lisa A. Winston, yes.
Yeah. So with the Facebook, with the website, what do you have there?
Oh, I got a lot of stuff. Actually, I redid it and I'm redoing it again. I just redid it. And then I started having that major reinvention transition happen where I'm moving from coaching, into more of my art, doing art workshops, selling my art, and that kind of stuff. I am still going to be doing group coaching programs to elevate people, not to really work on beliefs. We'll touch on that a little bit, but more of the fun, creative stuff to elevate vibrations and move into, their soul purpose, find people's soul purposes. And I'm writing another book, and I'm still doing interviews, and I'm still speaking at virtual events. So I'm still doing a lot of different things, but on the website, I believe I have, work with me. I have my artwork, I have my book, media, pictures of Joe and I, and some of my stuff. So anyway, just go on there and, look around. There's a lot of stuff on there
So
too.
your arts
Videos
are available online, right?
They aren't yet. We're working on that right now. That's part of my website redesign is going to have a gallery of some sort. Yeah, because I do some things where I've sold some paintings or commissioned paintings. People saw them online, or a few people bought stuff they saw me posting online. But I actually want to have a real gallery website where actually things are for sale. And so, like I said, lots of moving pieces. It was just a step of faith saying, you know what, I'm going to move out of this and I'm going into this. And so this is my second
transition.
Major transition.
That's what we do, and you are really good at it.
Oh, I don't know about that, but when it has to happen, it has to happen. So
thanks for all the inspiration. I'm really happy to connect with you, and hopefully our audience also enjoy this
so much. Thank you.
Thank you
Love
so
my
much.
time with you. Yeah, thank you.
Please subscribe to Untitled Transition channel to get the latest interviews and order my book PTSD Compass through Amazon. How to confront PTSD and navigate trauma to triumph.